good, Josh
What's
YC,
good,
man?
YC?
We back in this mug,
Yes,
man.
sir.
You already
Today
know.
we are going to be reviewing our top 10 games.
that are rated 10 out of 10. You already know 10 out of 10
We're going to be
games coming
reviewing
up.
top 10, 10 out of 10 games.
Come on now, we're gonna get to it.
We're going to get right
Hope
to
y'all
it.
agree with our list. If y'all don't, you know what I'm saying, let us know in the comments below.
Exactly.
Please make sure y'all boys like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into this, man.
Go.
Let's go.
At the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, as I stood on Midgard's expressway, the limitless possibilities of what could come next left me with a sense of longing that I have never experienced from a game before. In many ways, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth feels like my wildest dreams brought to life. The impeccable combat feels fresh once more thanks to clever new mechanics and additional party members. By transforming the original's overworld into stunning open regions filled with engaging side content, the game enriches places I thought I knew so well. This reimagining succeeds as both a breathtaking reconstruction of a game I've cherished since beating it for the first time, and an intriguing new interpretation of it. Naturally, a game of this scale comes with a somewhat daunting world map, embracing many modern open world design conventions, like Ubisoft, activating towers to reveal tasks, and extra. However, Rebirth manages to elevate this familiar trope as I traveled from region to region, connecting with people and aiding them in their struggles. I frequently encountered compelling side stories that enhanced the game's human element. The deeper I delved into various activities filling these zones, the more engrossed I became in clearing every icon on the map. The returning pressure and stagger systems once again push you to develop a deeper understanding of combat. Stronger enemies won't fall to simple button mashing, so having the tactical foresight to exploit an enemy's specific weakness and the skill to execute a well-planned offensive is incredibly rewarding. The relentless and unforgiving opponents make those satisfying victories feel well earned. While the returning cast fights just as they did in Remake, new enemies and mechanics encourage you to explore more of your party members' potential. Now Yuffie? Hey, she's fire. She stands out as the most dynamic character of the group, becoming an absolute force with a full party and an entire game to develop her skill set. With all these facts, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is one of the best games to ever grace a console.
Batman Arkham Knight. Where do I even begin with this game? Heroes and rogues come together for an incredible, visually stunning finale. Arkham Knight is roughly 12 hours of story missions doing an excellent job of highlighting the deep history between Batman, the Three Robins, and Jim and Barbara Gordon. Although the plot occasionally veers a bit too much into the supernatural for my taste, it uses this to create tension between allies and explore Batman's physique in an intriguing way. While the mystery surrounding the Arkham Knight's identity falls a bit flat, there are plenty of other surprises to keep you engaged. Let's dive a bit into the Batman combat system. Straight to the hands. Batman's Sentry Strike encounter combat and Predator encounters feel better than ever, enhanced by numerous powerful and interesting new mechanics that offer more to experiment with and master. Some, like the surprise multi-takedown and the voice synthesizer gadget that lures enemies into traps that may initially seem overpowered. However, the introduction of new enemy types like the medic who can electrify and revive allies help balance the challenge. Chasing criminals through the dark neon-lit streets is immensely satisfying as everything in your path crumbles, often leading to beautiful slow-motion explosions during the vehicle combat. The Batmobile, which can be controlled remotely, also becomes a valuable addition to Batman's environmental puzzle-solving arsenal. Overall, I would say that Batman Arkham Knight is a must-play 10 out of 10 game. It has everything you need in terms of Batman. Everything in it just feels like Batman. When it comes down to the combat system, when it comes down to the gadgets, comes down to the story, comes down to all of that. If you're a Batman fan, you're going to love this game.
When a new entry in the Mario series is announced, expectations run super high. Nintendo's iconic mascot has dominated the platforming genre for over 30 years, and with the hype generated by mesmerizing trailers and a legacy of top-tier games, anything less than perfection in Super Mario Odyssey would feel like a letdown, especially as one of the Switch's most anticipated releases. Let's address it up front. Super Mario Odyssey is not a perfect game. However, the issues that hold it back are super minor, hardly even worth noticing. Yes, the game is on the easier side, but that's true of most Mario titles. There are occasional technical hiccups like minor frame rate drops and pop-in effects, but they're barely noticeable. The swimming controls could be better, but they're not a deal breaker. The key takeaway from Odyssey is this: no Mario game has delivered such a sense of wonder, freedom, and excitement since Super Mario 64, which came out over 20 years ago. The gameplay is incredibly smooth, giving you an exceptional level of control. You genuinely feel like you can handle anything the game throws at you. Moving Mario around is once again a joy, and you'll often find yourself attempting daring maneuvers just because you believe you could pull them off. I've done hours of parkour in this game. The controls are straightforward, so when you're required to combine moves to achieve your goals, it feels natural and effortless. Odyssey's standout feature, though, is one of the most ingenious abilities in gaming: the power to toss your hat onto various objects, enemies, and even characters to take control of them. It's not just that the concept is brilliant, but also that the objects you can interact with in each world are meticulously chosen and positioned to enhance the flow of your movement. You're equipped with more than enough tools to tackle the basic task of getting from point A to point B, but the placement of these capturable objects encourages you to explore and experiment with different approaches repeatedly. This is easily the best collectathon game I've played in years.
Diving into Ghost of Tsushima, let me just say right now, this had to be one of the most beautiful and well-made games I ever played. Ghost of Tsushima's combat feels like a masterful blend of influences drawing from games such as Batman Arkham series, early Assassin's Creed games, and Sekiro. The result is nothing short of amazing. At first glance, the combat seems straightforward: light attacks, heavy attacks, blocking, dodging, all familiar elements. However, what keeps the system engaging throughout the game is the addition of stances, each designed to counter a specific weapon type. It's this mechanic that adds depth and keeps the action fresh from start to finish. I feel like this game really peaks when it comes to the combat. It's fast, chaotic, and tactical, perfectly capturing the fantasy of being a lone, highly skilled, yet outnumbered samurai. One of the game's standout features is the standoff mechanic, where you can challenge an enemy to a classic samurai showdown. Timing is crucial though, as you wait for them to make the first move before striking them down in one hit. As you progress, you can even chain these standoff strikes to take out multiple enemies at the start of a fight. By the end of the game, I was killing 5 enemies before the battle even began. The small details elevate the experience, adding both a visual flair and a satisfying feel to every encounter. The HUD is minimal, and the camera stays close, giving you an intimate view of the action. The game avoids cluttering the view with a distracting UI, instead relying on subtle cues to guide you, staying true to its samurai cinema inspiration.
Persona 5 Royal is a masterclass in elevating an already outstanding game to new heights. This isn't just a typical Game of the Year edition with a few extra features tacked on. Nearly every aspect of Atlus's 2016 JRPG masterpiece has been refined, polished, and expanded in significant and positive ways. Over more than 130 hours of exploring urban Tokyo and its surreal realms, each new and familiar twist in the story left me in awe. It's challenging to keep classic 4-person turn-based battles engaging in today's gaming landscape, but Atlus does it better than anyone else. They've expertly rebalanced abilities and enemies across the board, and the role of guns in your arsenal has been completely reimagined, thank God. Now, bullets refresh after each battle instead of just at the start of an infiltration, although you carry fewer rounds. This change feels almost game-breakingly powerful in the early stages, but as you progress, it turns guns into a more versatile and reliable tool, rather than something you save for the toughest foes. Showtime attacks are another brilliant addition, where 2 party members team up for a spectacular tag team finisher. The animations are cleverly over the top and perfectly showcase your party members' personalities. Watching Makoto and Haru deliver a double elbow drop to a harbinger of the apocalypse in a flashy and humorous nod to pro wrestling never gets old. The game continues its deep thematic exploration of human society and the complexities of the psyche, posing challenging and relevant questions about justice and suffering. It made me rethink my own beliefs, and when a game dares to venture into such profound territory, it truly elevates itself to a higher form of art. The first game was already a masterpiece, but with all these additions, it certainly deserves to be on this list.
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown was honestly a game I didn't think I was going to enjoy all that much, based off the games I already played. But that game was freaking amazing. This game's art, mechanics, boss fights, combat system were legit extraordinary. The presence of diverse enemies kept every battle thrilling and significant throughout my 25-hour journey, even on normal difficulty. The excitement comes from mastering all the tools at your disposal. One of the Lost Crown standout features is its increased emphasis on melee combat, going beyond what you would typically expect from this type of game. The focus in fights is on building and maintaining combos to gain the upper hand. Sargon's unlockable Arthur Surge abilities add a layer of flashiness to combat, which are powered up by dealing damage to enemies. These abilities let you pull off moves like launching multiple foes into the air simultaneously, creating a healing field, or firing a powerful, stylish arrow. However, combat truly shines during the boss battles. All the mechanics of regular fights come into play, including parrying and triggering counters for cinematic hits. But bosses have similar abilities to yours, including unlockable moves and their own author abilities, which you'll need to learn and adapt to in order to succeed. One thing people might disagree with me on is the story. I feel like out of this entire game, I feel the story is the only thing that kind of falls flat. But at the same time, it's not like I came to this game wanting a crazy story or anything like that. Besides that, it gave me everything I could even ask for. Overall, I feel this game deserves a 10 out of 10, if not 9 out of 10. This game was freaking nuts. And this is crazy coming from me because, like I said at the starting of this game, it is not even my type of genre. So for me to hype it up like this should give you a clue on how good it really is. I highly suggest you play this game. Go do it right now. If you're free, if you're gonna be free later, please go play this game. It was nuts.
When Breath of the Wild, one of the best Switch games, launched in 2017, it revolutionized the series by placing a greater emphasis on exploration and player freedom than ever before. 6 years later, Tears of the Kingdom returned players to the same Hyrule for a new adventure as a direct sequel. While it might initially feel a bit too familiar, diving deeper reveals that Tears of the Kingdom is full of ambitious changes and improvements that elevate the experience across the board. Set in the same Hyrule as Breath of the Wild, much of the geography remains familiar, with key locations like Rito Village and Gerudo Town still in their original spots. However, the passage of time has left its mark on the world, with noticeable changes brought about by ruins falling from the sky and other disasters. After the game's opening events, the once peaceful and quiet Hateno Village has transformed into a vibrant fashion hub adorned with mushroom-themed decorations. Meanwhile, the seaside village of Lorelin has been ransacked and overrun by pirates scattered throughout Hyrule. There are also numerous new caves to explore and fresh landmarks, like Lookout Landing, which now sits at the heart of Hyrule Field. Link's right hand now serves as the conduit for his abilities, replacing older powers like Cryonis and Remote Bomb with a new set of tools. For instance, Recall lets you reverse time on objects, Ascend allows you to move through surfaces above you, and Ultra Hand lets you freely move objects and stick them together. These new abilities offer unique and exciting gameplay possibilities. For example, you can use Recall to ride a piece of rubble back into the sky, or Ascend to seamlessly pop out of a cave and back onto the surface, both of which are not only impressive, but also widely applicable across the game. I love when a sequel actually expands on what the previous game accomplished and perfects a gaming experience.
Next up, we have Spiderman PS4, another 10 out of 10 game, which captivated me at nearly every turn during this 15-hour adventure, delivering a surprisingly rich story that dives into the struggles of both Spider-Man and Peter Parker. The engaging narrative, combined with exhilarating web swinging, clever gadgets, and web-themed humor, made for a fantastic experience. Insomniac Games' take on the superhero genre is a thrilling ride, with Spider-Man's mix of gadgets, attacks, and dodges giving me full control in every battle. I loved improvising mid-fight with new gear and moves, and it's no surprise that Insomniac, known for its inventive arsenals in series such as Ratchet & Clank, made Spidey's gadgets a blast to use. Whether it was sticking an enemy to the environment with the trip mine, or webbing two foes together, the possibilities were endlessly entertaining. Experimenting with web bombs and spider drones really gave me an Arkham Asylum type scenario, which added a strategic layer that kept things fresh. Adding even more variety is Spider-Man's wardrobe of unlockable suits, each offering a unique power. Fortunately, once a suit's power is unlocked, it can be used independently with each suit, which is incredibly convenient. However, I found myself relying on the first couple of suits' powers for most of the campaign. The ability to quickly fill the focus meter for special finishers or to restore health was so useful that I really felt compelled to switch to other powers, and the game didn't really push me to experiment with them. What truly surprised me was how relatable and endearing Spider-Man's story really turned out to be. The complex relationship between Peter and Miles, for example, led to emotionally powerful moments. I quickly grew as attached to Miles as I was to Peter, making the story's twists and turns all the more impactful.
Monolith Soft has become a powerhouse in recent years. After launching Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Switch in 2017, followed by its DLC, the studio went on to remaster the original game in 2020, adding a substantial new chapter. Just 2 years later, they released Xenoblade Chronicles 3, a remarkable continuation of a journey that began on the Wii 2 generations ago. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is an outstanding sequel, blending some of the best elements of its predecessors into something truly impressive. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 not only delivers the vast and captivating world fans have come to expect, but it also dives into darker, more complex narrative and character arcs. The world is trapped in a never-ending cycle of conflict where two factions battle for survival, and its inhabitants know nothing but war throughout their short lives. However, comrades from opposing sides find themselves in an unexpected situation where they must learn to fight together or face death before they can uncover the true nature of the world they barely understand. The battle system is straightforward, blending elements from previous titles but leaning more heavily on the style of the original game. You can use basic attacks that either work on a timed cooldown or charge up as you land each auto attack. Some attacks require specific positioning relative to your target, while others drop AoE fields that must be occupied to gain their benefits. Throughout the battle, you can freely switch between all 6 of your party members. Basic attacks can also be fused to trigger an interlink between two characters, allowing them to utilize their Ouroboros form, which is essentially a giant mech. Imagine a combination of Dragon Ball's Fusion Dance and Pacific Rim's Drift compatibility. You can have 3 of these active at any time, each using the same ability system as a regular party member, but with significantly more power. I'm talking, these boys is crazy. On top of that, a chain attack meter fills up during the course of a fight, and once it's full, you can unleash a devastating series of blows. Amazing world, story, and combat makes this not only the best Xenoblade game, but one of the best JRPGs period, and truly deserving of being on this top 10 list.
Diving into Uncharted 4, let me just say, this game is one of a kind. Even though there are only a few small additions here and there, the tone and the intense focus on story and character development make this game feel significantly different from the previous games. But don't get me wrong, this is still very much an Uncharted game. It's full of humor, thrilling swashbuckling adventures, and an exciting globe-trotting action. Yet at the same time, the game can feel surprisingly grim, serious, and grounded. It's as if the game goes out of its way to make the characters feel like real people. Not new versions of the ones you love, but the same characters, just more developed, stronger, and better realized. It's evident that Uncharted 4 had different creative leads behind it, and while that's occasionally noticeable, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Each environment and scenario you explore in this game feel unique, and many are quite memorable. The semi-open world driving sections are unexpectedly enjoyable, and you probably been seeing gameplay on this, such as the Jeep chase, but if you have, you know, this game is like that. The off-roading, rock climbing, and sliding through mud actually feel fun, almost like real off-roading. In the Madagascar terrain, you can hop out of your vehicle and explore pretty much as much as you want, uncovering little details along the way. It's not a fully open world experience, but these expanded driving sequences add a lot of fun to the gameplay. Overall, what you get is a fantastic adventure game with great characters, with also new additions like Nathan Drake's brother, voiced by Troy Baker, who also played Joel in The Last of Us if you didn't know that, but now you know. You're welcome. The emphasis on story is no joke. You really do feel like you're playing through a narrative. There are flashbacks, a prologue, and various moments that offer glimpses into different points in the character's life. Naughty Dog pays crazy attention to detail from the story, the characters, and environments and controls. The story ties everything together beautifully, and I had to say, Uncharted 4 is a pretty good game. Is it the best Uncharted game? I don't know. That's for y'all to decide. Go play it right now, and I promise you will not be disappointed.
Alright, y'all, that's our list, man. It's gonna do it for the day.
Hope y'all good with the list.
Hey, for sure.
And hopefully you left the video and wanted to try out some of the games we were talking about. These are 10 out of 10 games.
These are hits.
For sure. These are hits. These are hits. Come on now.
Hey, don't forget, man. Please like, comment, subscribe. You know
Leave in the comments what your favorite game is.
Hey, facts.
What's your 10 out of 10 game?
Hit that too. Hey, we'll catch you on the next one, man. Peace.